Hello there guys, how y'all doing? Ali here with Michael with another Hugs for Thugs video for you. And today we're going to talk about something super duper important. So over the past few years I've been doing this, I've noticed that there's a few things that end up derailing otherwise excellent and promising college careers. And the top three of those are basically romantic issues and academic problems and getting involved with drugs and alcohol. So to illustrate this, we have a personal account from my good man Michael right here. And so Michael, would you like to share your story?
Well, I was a person who was derailed largely by the first two of those. Fortunately for me, I never had a big problem with alcohol or drugs. Not that that could not happen to you. I mean, that's a bad way to go. We'll stay away from that for now.
Right. And just to set the scene, Michael, did you start out as a total slacker or just kind of slid into Harvard?
I always like to tell kids that I was smarter than they were in high school. I got into Harvard when I was 16 years old. I was like an early admit. I applied a year early, and then in the early admit, back when that meant something, they still had that. So I was a gunner. I was a big time gunner. I wanted to double major. I wanted to do linguistics, and I wanted to do physics. And I wanted to start this club and do that club and, do judo at a national level and just really do everything that I could. I was, very stereotypically a gunner at the time I got there. But as you will see, it didn't work out quite that way. And a lot of it had to do with me showing up to college with a girlfriend. And she was a girl that actually was from my hometown. I lived close to Harvard. So I spent a lot of time off campus and not a lot of time kind of really getting into college. I'd like to say that I didn't really do college until probably my junior year.
Right, and that's one of our biggest and most proven pieces of advice to you. You pretty much want to dump your current girlfriend or boyfriend, even if they live in the same town you're going to be in, for reasons that will become obvious in a second. So then what happened, Michael?
Well, because I was such a gunner, I took some very hard classes my freshman year, which I definitely should have. And guess what happened at the end of my freshman year? I broke up with my girlfriend, and it was a huge, crushing breakup. And I became actually very depressed, and I barely scraped by my freshman spring classes.
Right, and did you think that she was just a girlfriend, or was she kind of like...
Oh, no, she was not just a girl. She was my soulmate.
She was your soulmate,
She was the one.
right.
She was... she was everything. We were meant for each other. So it was a big hit, and I reeled from it for a long, long time.
Yeah, that first girlfriend when you're 17, 18, 19, that is the girl you're definitely going to marry, because I thought that too. I was 19. Man, that was my first kiss, and she was so great, and I was totally going to marry her, because I knew everything there was to know. Right, I actually ended up being depressed for a couple of months myself, which was no fun at all, but luckily I bounced back pretty quick and got in the swing of things. But Michael's story was a little more dramatic, so what else happened?
Well, by the time I had come back for sophomore year, I had kind of convinced myself that I was back on balance, which I was not, and right at the beginning of sophomore year, I got back together with the ex.
Wait, you did what?
I got back together with the ex.
Right, okay, great.
There was nothing that was going to stand between us, not even the 5 classes that I decided to take, because I wanted to get back on track academically and work this all out. And you can probably imagine what happened there. That semester at Harvard, I got every grade you can get at Harvard. I got an A, a B, a C, a D, and an incomplete. And you get an incomplete, you should never know this, when you don't show up for a final. So that is how the end of that semester ended up. I was in terrible, terrible shape. I was depressed. I was still with the girlfriend, but barely. I was not on my parents' good side. I was not really on my friends' good side either by that point in the year. I was not in a good place.
So it would be safe to assume that you were in deep doo-doo.
I was very deep in it. And what happens at Harvard, if you happen to see a D and incomplete on your transcript ever, which I hope you never do, they will give you a nice little letter that says, you need to take a year off. Think about what you did, think about what you need to do, and come back and try this all over again. And I thought that that was the end of the world. And at the time, it was the end of the world for me. and I tried to figure out what I could do, which is not much. And by that point, it was already decided I was going to be off for a year. And that was just another crushing blow on top of all of this.
Right, so a couple of mistakes here that were made. Let's just to catalog. So we had the girlfriend from before that was kept on, and then there was taking way too many hard classes way too soon, and then repeating those mistakes. So
Yes.
carry on. Then what happened? Just like, you know, the overview.
I took my year off. I got back. Thought I had my stuff a lot more together. After a year, right? I got to be much more mentally healthy by then. And I had a good semester. I had a good finish to my sophomore year. And then my junior year started. And at the beginning of my junior year, because I was so healthy and everything was going so well, I got back together with my girlfriend again. Got back together with the ex. And
That's 3 times now?
that is 3. That'd be the 3rd time.
Holy smoke. You didn't even tell me that part. Okay, great.
Started to go rapidly downhill again as I overextended myself with classes again, and by my spring semester of my junior year I had broken up with the girlfriend again, and I was barely hanging on by a string. And the end of my junior year, one of the worst times I ever had, I actually ended up in McLean Hospital for a week, missing 2 finals, and having to take extensions on all my work, and generally being on the brink of real despair and very close to doing something that I would have regretted for a long time.
Right, so this is now pretty serious, okay? So you'll find out what McLean Hospital is all about once you get to Harvard, but basically it's somewhere you don't want to end up. And the reason why we're doing this is so you don't have to go through this yourself. And one hallmark of Michael's story is that pretty much every step of the way, every decision he made himself. Did anybody force you to do that stuff?
No, I was very convinced that I was making my own path.
Right, so it's all self-inflicted. So we are here to make sure that you, yourself, does not inflict such things upon yourself. And also, just make sure you look out for your friends. So if you see them doing stuff that is just kind of patently silly, you need to speak up and do stuff for them. Because if you're all having each other's backs, then it's much less likely that bad shit will go down. And so, you know, just be there for each other. Make relationships a priority. And for God's sakes, don't do stupid shit like hanging on to your ex from home, or just kind of piling up the academic stuff when you're really not quite got your footing down yet. Anything else you want to add there, Michael?
Man, what else? They don't want to hear anymore. This is just depressive by now.
Right, but I mean, look at him. Look at him now, right?
Okay, here's what I want to add. What I want to add is that I'm here now, and I can never ever give myself full credit for that. What it really was that got me through all this was a great network of friends and a great network of support at Harvard itself. They have amazing resources, and the administration, your house administration, you'll find out especially, everyone wants you to graduate. They want you to make it through. They're in no way working against you. They want you to succeed. And so asking for their help is one of the best things you can ever do, even if you think you don't need it, which I promise you never will think you need it. But asking for that help and getting it, you'll find, is one of the greatest things about the Harvard community. That's really what I think was the strong point of my experience, is knowing that there were all those people there rooting for me, even when I was not even rooting for myself. So.
And that, my friends, is the ultimate lesson, because look at this guy, okay? I mean, if you just know him on a social basis, he's the life of the party. He's the guy always cracking the jokes, right? He was DJ Sankey. He threw the craziest parties in Foho, right? That's what he was known for. He's got hundreds upon hundreds of buddies, right? Popular guy, and also wicked smacked, as they say in Boston, where he's from. So if it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. So you just want to make sure that you're cognizant of that you don't put yourself apart from the community of humans and thinking, this will never happen to me, because hell, it happened to us. So chill out, relax, take it easy, take stock, and listen to people who are out there to care for you. That's pretty much it, huh?
That's about it.
More where that came from, and soon we'll have the actual letters from the dean, so you know what those look like, the letter you don't ever want to get. Catch you next time. Thanks a lot.